the shoot interview of Nick Bondage. In our last segment, we had just gotten into talking about the PWA days, which was Bobby Doll's promotion, a short distance from where we now sit. And just tell us a little bit about it. You said you train there frequently and you're slinging ring.
Slung the ring there, trained there very frequently. Had the pleasure of being introduced to a lot of great guys, a lot of guys I have very fond memories of, and a lot of guys that I worked with that I enjoyed working with. And I had some of my best matches there at the PWA, and it was just great experience. And I'm so fortunate that I was able to hook up with that, and I actually owe that to Tyrone Holly.
Wow.
Appreciate you, brother, for that.
Well, the PWA was kind of different from other indie promotions in that they had a good blend of veterans and up-and-comers and students, you know, who otherwise wouldn't get any ring time, you know, and I think the PWA set the bar high for other indie promotions.
Yep, I agree 100%. And that's the place where I really learned so much about the business, not only from a wrestling point of view, but I really dove into the production aspect of the show because I wanted to know everything that there was to know about the business. And Bobby, of course, was very accommodating for that. You know, he said, "Well, just dive right into it. You know, we'll make you part of the family. You're not just a participant in the ring, but you know, you'll be working and doing this and doing that, and working the soundboard and helping with the editing and everything else."
Right. For the benefit of the fans watching who don't know the PWA, at the time, they were doing stuff no indie promotion was doing. I mean, usually you think indie show, you think of a crappy ring at a gym or something, but Bob had lights, he had a nice ring, a sound system, and was doing all sorts of unprecedented things. So
it was definitely some groundbreaking stuff at the time, and I was overwhelmed and awed just at the capacity that Bob was trying to run in and what he was trying to do and accomplish, and I just latched myself to it and rode that wave as long as I could.
Now, for how long did you stay with PWA?
All the way to the very end.
Okay.
All the way to the very end. I remember Bob's last show, if I'm not mistaken, I think it was at the fairgrounds.
Pensacola Fairgrounds.
Pensacola Fairgrounds, and then it was just over. You know? Right. And
I remember Bill getting hurt at that show. I think Cornbread. I believe that's the show he got hurt at.
Yeah, I believe so. I'm not 100% sure. And it was kind of funny because right when the PWA ended, I was thinking, okay, well, where do I go now? I mean, of course, I had made other contacts and wrestled on other independent shows, but I got invited to do a Super 8 tournament in Oklahoma Championship Wrestling, as a matter of fact.
Wow. And
went up there and wrestled with some of the top cruiserweights in the country and felt just really overwhelmed by being there. And actually, I did very well. And the guys that spoke up for me and actually got me on the show were impressed that I had wrestled at the capacity that I was wrestling at. And from there, it just kind of took off, and I started going to Memphis and started meeting, these guys and then these guys and then those guys, and just the shows got bigger and bigger. And then I ended up hooking up with the NWA and wrestled for the NWA for a while.
Now, what was that like?
Hectic, very hectic, because they had a lot of guys running through the NWA. Of course, you have all your NWA franchises, and one of the NWA franchises that I worked for, I would say 90% of the guys didn't even know how to wrestle.
Wow.
Wow. But they still had a NWA franchise, and just being a part of that tradition, because I was just real big on tradition, and the fact that I could say I wrestled for the NWA was enough for me. And then I was always taught to, in the business, you always give back. So I took it as an opportunity to maybe help some of these guys out and help them hone their craft a little bit better, and that way they could proudly say that they wrestled for the NWA as well, and then the product wouldn't be as crappy.
Right.
So wrestled them for a little while, and then other various promotions all across Texas, Alabama, Mississippi, Florida, Louisiana, Arkansas, Oklahoma, Tennessee.
Wow. So you've covered a lot of territory in your day.
Yeah.
Now you touched on something earlier. I'm going to kind of shift gears. You talked about you still train today. You still learn. I've noticed a lot of not all of them, but a portion of the younger generation of wrestlers coming up now. When they're done, they think they're done learning. I mean, I think it's very profound what you said. You never should stop learning.
Absolutely. Even I never really liked to classify myself as a old grizzled vet, but I guess I'll kind of wear that label. Even guys like me, to this day, there was things that I just got done wrestling maybe 2 hours ago.
Right.
I was still learning. There was a guy a particular gentleman that I wrestled tonight that I learned from. So it never ends. You're always learning something, whether it's psychology or a move or how to set up a spot. You're always learning something, always, and it never stops.
Okay, so take us to the past couple of years. What have you been up to? I know I hadn't seen you in a while, and then you popped up again at Ultimate Wrestling. Bobby Doll's the commissioner there right now. There seems to be a gap where I didn't see or hear from you. I mean, were you just traveling around, or?
Basically, I've been stuck in Louisiana wrestling for a while because, I don't know, here as of late it just seems like, everybody who liked wrestling bought a ring and started their own fed. And of course, once they started their own fed, then they got their friends. Oh, you guys want to be wrestlers? And, then their cousins and, and whatever money they did make, it was like, I'll pay you $20. And then it seemed like promoters got into this mentality of, I'm only going to use $20, wrestlers.
Right.
I wouldn't even call them wrestlers, but I'm going to use $20 workers. And then, that of course took me out of the equation.
Right.
I still got plenty of wrestling work, but it just seemed like I didn't get around as much as I used to.
Right.
I guess, probably because my price went up, of course. And like I said, the business kept churning out all these just really crappy guys who were wrestle for $20 that don't know anything
or
whatsoever.
Free.
Yeah, or free. And and then the promoters would choose these guys over someone with my experience and style and talent.
And I think that's had a profound effect on the wrestling business, on the local levels, on the independent levels, and
it absolutely has. And then most of all in the fans' eyes, because what happens is they get conditioned to seeing this crap, and thinking, oh, this is what wrestling is supposed to be, or a kid for the first time is being taken to a show. Oh, is this what wrestling is?
You see a guy in the ring with a pair of cutoff jeans and sneakers. And
or thank God the hardcore days are over. Right. That's all I can say. That damn near killed the business, in my opinion. It's taken us a long time to recover back from that, but I can honestly say I've had only one hardcore match in my whole 13 years.
Wow.
So, which has left me injury-free.
Wow.
Then speaking of injuries, let me just go ahead and clear the table on that. I've had broken neck, broken both my elbows at the same time, separated this shoulder. I had an impingement in this shoulder. I have a fractured hip, 4 herniated discs in my back right now. I have a torn meniscus in my left knee, a Baker's cyst in my right knee, and 7 broken noses, and 3 concussions.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a pretty long list.
Yeah.
And
so
here recently, I've seen you take a bump off the top rope. So I mean,
well, I'm just one of those guys. I believe in a non-pharmaceutical pain management. I do what's called spinal decompression therapy, where you stretch the spine out, and then I have an inversion table that I hang on to, and that alleviates a lot of my pain and suffering. But I still get up and moan and groan like an old man.
Right. So tell us how you got back involved with Ultimate Wrestling now.
Actually, I had always checked on the Gulf Coast Wrestling website, and I heard the unfortunate news of Bob Liddell's passing.
Right.
And I was kind of close with Bob. You know, he was a very generous man. He did a lot for me back in those days. He was a big supporter, big fan, and I have nothing bad to say about Bob Liddell whatsoever. And I heard about his passing, and of course I contacted Bobby and asked him. I would love to be a part of Bob's memorial, and it just kind of took off from there. You know, me and Bob started talking again, and invited me in, and asked me if I knew of a couple guys that were worth taking a look at. So I gathered up a group of guys and brought them in, and just kind of snowballed from there. So here I am back in the Ultimate Wrestling every other week, every first and third Saturday. Breckenridge Post 33.
There you go. So what's your opinion of the crop of young wrestlers that are out there now? I mean, is it a mixed bag, or?
Yeah, it is. It's kind of the brown grab bag, so to speak. There's, you know, I'm not going to shoot on anybody. Just hone your craft. Hone your craft and hone your character, because that is going to be the formula for your longevity in this business. You know, take the time to talk to, you know, the older guys, whether they have anything useful to use for you or not. Take the time to learn and listen, and maybe you can snatch a little piece of this or a little piece of that from somebody, and create a better character or a better, you know, wrestler for yourself.
Right.
And keep the business alive, keep it going, and hold tradition true. You know, because I'm a big firm believer in tradition, and you know, anytime I see anybody disrespecting the business, of course I'm always going to say something. You know,
right?
It's just there was a blueprint that was laid before us, and it's up to us to continue laying that blueprint. You know, because the road never ends, and somebody's got to lay the bricks.
Right, and you know, I'm actually glad you do speak up to some of the younger guys, because I've seen a couple of guys that just have never been told, hey, you know, that's kind of disrespectful, or, you know, you meet a vet, shake his hand, you know, wipe your feet before you get in the ring. Just like you said, fundamentals, yeah. You know.
But I'm also not one of those guys that's just going to walk up to somebody and, you know, oh, you did this wrong and you did that wrong. I'm actually pretty fortunate, and I always have a lot of the younger guys actually come and ask me, hey, what'd you think about this, or what'd you think about that? And of course, you know, my big thing is I'm brutally honest. You know, whether you like it or not, I'm going to be 100% honest with you, because I would expect the same in return for myself, first of all. And you know, how are you ever going to learn anything if someone's not honest with you? You know, because there's too many people out there that are going to blow smoke up your ass and tell you what you want to hear, but you know, that's going to do nothing for you whatsoever. So,
okay,
if you do ask me anything, then be prepared. Whether it's good or bad, you're gonna, you know, I will let you know.
Absolutely. I think at this time we're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back and do another segment with a real wrestling shoot video of Nick Bondage.